Good evening, ladies. In today's video, we'll be discussing what could be the biggest airdrop of 2024. And that, of course, is the new layer 2 from Pac-Man and Blur, which is called Blast. So I made videos on Blur Season 1 and Blur Season 2, both of which were extremely good airdrops for anyone who farmed them effectively. And now I'm not going to be fading Blur Season 3, which is a completely different, a new layer 2. So Pac-Man, the CEO and founder of Blur, is a fantastic entrepreneur. His new product now is going to be called Blast, and it's a layer 2 on top of Ethereum, which earns native yield for the assets that you hold on the chain. So the problem with staking Ethereum on, he saw this problem, when you stake your Ethereum on the Ethereum chain, you have to pay a gas fee to stake the Ethereum, and then whenever you want to unstake your Ethereum, again you have to pay a gas fee. So if you only are playing around with half an Ethereum and you are staking that, you have to wait for months just to break even on the gas fees. So it doesn't make sense for a lot of people. However, on his new product on the Blast chain, just by depositing it on the chain, it's going to rebase automatically the amount of Ethereum you have or the amount of stable coins you have. So it's a really innovative new layer 2 project. So in this video, I'm going to explain everything you need to know in regards to Blast and Blur Season 3, as well as how to best farm for this future airdrop and how much it could potentially be worth. And I do think this is going to be another fat airdrop for Blur Season 3 and Blast farmers. So Pac-Man actually created a really good product with Blur. So good in fact that it pretty much killed OpenSea. And that wasn't just because the product was better, it was also because they were offering massive incentives. And he's doing the exact same thing with this new Blast chain. Potentially, he's coming after the other big layer 2s on Ethereum, Arbitrum and Optimism. And you can see some of the benefits that he believes, or they believe, that Blast has over these competitors. And once you see how much the valuations for Arbitrum and Optimism are, you can see that this airdrop could be really big. So one of the problems that Pac-Man saw in the Blur platform is that obviously there's gas fees incurred for trading, buying and selling NFTs. So the way they originally tried to eliminate or reduce those gas fees was to create this Blur pool. So if you deposit your Ethereum into the Blur pool, you can bid on NFTs and you can reduce your gas fees considerably. But obviously moving to a layer 2 on top of Ethereum would reduce those gas fees even more. And the other problem we saw with this Blur pool is that it has all this Ethereum sitting in it, not earning any yield, when you get a risk-free, like pretty much a risk-free yield on Ethereum by staking Ethereum. So that's why he's creating this new chain where instead of having all this Ethereum sitting idly, not doing anything, not earning any yield, it's going to earn yield automatically. So potentially a much better product than Arbitrum and Optimism. Like once Blast launches, like there's going to be way more incentives to use Blast because you're going to potentially get an airdrop, and also there's going to be native yield on the layer 2. So Blast is backed by Paradigm, as well as eGirl Capital, as well as Gainsey, as well as a lot of, respectable people in the crypto industry. But airdrops that have been backed by Paradigm have in the past done extremely well. So it's not one you'd probably want to fade. Some of their past airdrops include DYDX, which is that crypto exchange, and it was a 5 to 6 figure airdrop for a lot of people, as well as Blur, which was a 7-figure airdrop in Season 1 and Season 2 for the biggest farmers. But even if you weren't farming, you still got 4-figure airdrops just by using the platform. Optimism, of course, another massive airdrop and very much similar to the Blast idea here. So if we look at the market cap for Optimism, it has a circulating market cap of 1.5 billion, a fully diluted valuation of 7.3 billion. And Arbitrum, a market cap of 1.3 billion, fully diluted market cap of 10 billion. So how do we come up with a valuation of what Blast will be when it first launches? Like, is it going to be half of what Arbitrum and Optimism are? Probably one of the best ideas, but considering it potentially is a better product, and there's going to be a lot of incentive to use the Blast network, potentially it could be higher. The other good thing, the smart thing that Pac-Man has done in relation to the Blast network is that he's incentivizing developers to build on top of the Blast network. He's incentivizing them as well with an airdrop. So 50% of the airdrop is going to go to the developers, which is a huge incentive to build on the Blast network. So if there's a big incentive to build on the Blast network, the better the product that you build on the Blast network, the better your airdrop is going to be. That means the products on the Blast network are going to be really, really good, which means more people will be using the Blast network, which means the valuation will be higher. So if we got a circulating market cap in $1 billion or more than $1 billion, and they're airdropping 10% of the tokens, but I think Pac-Man, knowing Pac-Man, he's a big fan of an airdrop. So just as a reference, Arbitrum airdropped 10% of their tokens to their users, whereas Optimism airdropped 20% to their users. So I definitely think Pac-Man, because he's a big fan of the airdrop, as we've seen, is going to airdrop at least 20% of his tokens, in my personal opinion. Potentially even higher, but I think 10% would definitely be quite conservative. So this is a chart made by Rect Fencer of the potential returns you would get by sending your Ethereum or your stable coins to the Blast network for various fully diluted valuations. And I think the fully diluted valuations there are quite conservative, but we'll have to wait and see. But you can see the kind of APRs you're going to get at various valuations according to his calculations. So I think a fully diluted valuation of 5 billion is achievable. So that would be 166% APR. So not too bad. Okay, so how do we go about getting this airdrop? Well, there's two ways. The first way, as I said, is to send money to the Blast contract. So to do that, you need to go to blast.io, connect your Twitter, connect your Discord, and connect your wallet. Now, it's very important you connect the wallet that you've used on the Blur network, because you'll already get some Blast points if you have been a user of the Blur network or the Blur exchange. And the only way to unlock those tokens is to send any amount of Ethereum to the Blast network. So just send, if you don't want to participate this way, there's another way you can participate. You can just send $1 worth of Ethereum to the Blast network and claim those Blast points. The other thing is what is really important is that this is like, Pac-Man is a master of Ponzi-nomics. So this is a huge Ponzi. So he's not hiding it. Like, you can see from this, the invites, how much of a Ponzi it is. So I would really appreciate if you used my invite codes in the description, and yeah, deposit loads of Ethereum, because then I'll get extra points. No, I'm just joking. Like, obviously there's huge risks with sending money to this contract address. There's no layer 2 chain being built yet. All it is just a multi-sig wallet holding the Ethereum and staking it and earning rewards. So obviously there could be hacks, it could get rogued, which is very unlikely in my opinion. But yeah, there's a lot of risk with doing this. But personally, I think the reward outweighs the risk, because I think this layer 2 could become very popular. But yeah, definitely once you've signed up, try and incentivize other people to sign up, because then you get extra airdrop points as well. The other thing, like, he's just made it such a Ponzi, gamified it so much. You also get these spins, which will increase the amount of points you get. You get one spin just to begin with, and then you get an extra spin for every Ethereum that you deposit. And obviously, crypto people love this kind of thing. So, Pac-Man, he knows what he's doing here. So the second way, and definitely the safer way you can participate in this airdrop, is by staking Blur tokens. So if you were lucky enough to get the Season 2 Blur airdrop and you didn't sell your tokens yet, I would definitely recommend staking them. This is a much lower risk way to farm for the airdrop. So this was a really clever way to stop the Blur price from absolutely nuking on the second airdrop. And as you can see, people are realizing that this is a safer way to farm for the Blast token. So the Blur token is actually going crazy today, up 25%. So rest in peace to anyone who sold their second airdrop. But if you didn't, I'd say it's probably worth staking it. For every month you stake it, your multiplier of the points you'll get increases by 50%. Now, I wouldn't leave it in for the full amount of time, but maybe for the first couple of months staking it, because after a couple of months, probably the Blur token price is going to nuke. Potentially, who knows though. How am I personally playing this airdrop? Well, I've staked all my Blur tokens that I had in my wallet. I've staked them all. I'll leave them there for a few months, earning some Blur rewards or some Blast point rewards. And I'm also going to send one Ethereum to the Blast address. That's how I'm going to play it anyway. What are some of the consequences of this new platform? Well, a lot of Ethereum is going to get locked up for the next few months. So on-chain, Ethereum on-chain is going to nuke, in my opinion. There's not going to be much action on Ethereum on-chain for the next few months while all this Ethereum is being locked up. If you're holding a lot of shitcoins on Ethereum, it might not be the best time to be buying more shitcoins. And Ethereum NFTs are also going to potentially suffer with all this Ethereum getting locked up, taken away from being able to possibly buy NFTs. So what is my personal plan once I get my Blast tokens come May time? Well, personally, I'm not a huge fan of layer 2s. I'm a much bigger fan of being able to do everything on the layer 1. So that's why I've been, relentlessly shilling Solana for months before it blew up. So there's so many different layer 2s right now. So for them all to do well, there's going to have to be so much capital pumped into all of them. So I just don't think layer 2s are a great risk to reward. I don't think they're going to massively outperform Ethereum because there's so many of them and they all require a lot of capital to pump them up. And they all have most of them have a lot of tokens that have still yet to come onto the market. So that's why I much prefer Solana personally as an investment. So maybe Blast turns out to be the best of all the layer 2s, but I don't hold any Arbitrum, I don't hold any Optimism anymore. I think there's better plays in the whole crypto ecosystem. So at some point I probably would sell my Blast airdrop. That does not mean I don't think the Blast airdrop is going to be very, very significant. So you know that crypto scam that you've all undoubtedly seen where it's like, send me 1 Bitcoin and I'll send you 2 back. Well, I actually think with this airdrop, if you send 1 Ethereum to the Blast address, you'll eventually get 1 Ethereum worth of Blast tokens back in 6 months' time. I think this airdrop could easily be 100% APY over the next six months. Well, that's actually 200% APY, but you get what I mean. So the play potentially is either to wait for the Blur token to drop again, but a lot of people have realized this is a much safer, much easier way in the fact that you don't have to lock up your tokens for 3 months. You can just buy Blur, and if you want access to some Ethereum, you can just unstake that Blur and sell that Blur and get back to Ethereum within the next 3 months. So the Blur token has gone up a lot because of that. But if the Blur token dips, maybe it's a better strategy to buy Blur tokens and stake them then, or you can just send the Ethereum or your stable coins to this contract address. A little bit more risky, ties up your capital, but you can't make any money without taking a little bit of risk. And I think this is definitely an airdrop worth farming. So if the Blast layer 2 is anywhere near the valuations of Arbitrum and Optimism, it's going to be a very, very tasty airdrop. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.